Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my first update for my No Pan Left Behind and Project Level Up. I have combined these into one video just because that makes the most sense to me in how I'm doing this. I'm not sure who started the concept of No Pan Left Behind, but I do know that Sophie Alexandra started Project Level Up. These projects are very similar. I am randomizing palettes. I randomized 4 in my intro, 3 of which I want to use every single shade in the palette one time. And then I chose of the 4, one to be my Project Level Up palette, in which I use every single shadow in the palette one time and hit one pan in the palette. And so far I'm having a lot of fun with this project. We do have a rollout today, which is very exciting. And I'm so happy I chose Chaos and decided to hop in on this project after so many of my friends have been doing it both this year and last year. And I was just hesitant. I couldn't decide which of these 2 projects to do. And I figured, why don't I just do both and make it work for me? My Level Up palette is not rolling out today, but a couple of you left comments on my intro that potentially I could just do level 1 over and over again, and I am considering that. We shall see how I'm feeling after I complete level 1. Maybe I'll give level 2 a try and then bail out after one pan. We'll just see how it goes, but I really appreciated all your guys' feedback on my introduction. Alright, that's enough rambling. Let's jump right in. I have some good updates, but I'm going to start with a not so good update. And that is my Fantasy Cosmetica Druid palette. I have not used this at all yet. It's definitely fall vibes, and I was just prioritizing the other 3 palettes I had in here. I will for sure use this next time. It will take 2 to 3 looks to use every single palette, every single shade in here. I'm really happy to have this in. This is my second favorite Fantasy Cosmetica palette, because I think Rogue is my favorite, but I am an affiliate for Fantasy Cosmetica. You can use the code emilynmax to save you 10% off your order, and I do get a small commission off that, and I so appreciate every single one of you who have used my code. I get an email every time someone does, and it just makes me giddy every time, and so grateful for your guys' support. I will use this palette, I promise. I love this palette. I was just prioritizing other things. I also rolled in my Ofra singles plus 1 Luxie shadow. I put them in this cute little palette here. They were with my Coastal Scents, but that was just a little confusing, so I popped them in their own little magnetic palette. Sidebar, these little magnetic palettes from the Shop Miss A website are fantastic. They're really great quality. I got this recommendation from both Amy Loves Makeup and Chic Geek, I believe, and I concur. Very good magnetic palettes. I'm very happy with this purchase. Anyways, these 6 were Ofra singles, and this is a Luxie shadow. I have now used all 7 of these shades, and the Ofra shadows were even better than I remembered. I was shocked. I was like, why haven't I not been using these more? Probably because they're just very basic neutral shades. And for me, with singles, typically I want something a little bit more special, but these were really great quality. I was very disappointed with this Luxie shadow, but then in investigating on my spreadsheet, I discovered that I received this in an Ipsy bag, I believe, in November of 2015. So I'm actually going to be decluttering the shade because there is like no pigment. It picks up a little bit on my finger, but I was trying to put this on my eyes and I kept going back in and back in and back in before I was like, what am I doing? This eyeshadow doesn't owe me anything. It was never a favorite, never something I reach for very often, and it's 7.5 years old, so this is getting decluttered, but that's a good discovery to make in my collection. Something I haven't touched for a very long time got rolled in here, and now I can let it go. I've been letting go of a few things. I have quite the bin over there of decluttered items. Most of them you see as I'm decluttering them, but I'm very pleased with myself. Anyways, this is rolling out. Yay! My third No Pan Left Behind palette is my ABH Jackie Aina palette, and I've used this 2 times so far. I still have not used all the shades. So let's just go through the shades that I have used. In one look, I did a pinky purple look. I used Supreme, Pinker, Bigwig, and Shookington. So these pinks and the purple shimmer. And then today I actually used Credit, and Lituation is all over my lid, which is a surprising favorite every time I dip in here. This is another palette I really don't think I'll have any trouble rolling out next time. I love this palette a lot. It's just Steph has been talking about her favorite like bronzy neutral glittery look with these neutral mattes and these 2 shimmer shades, and I definitely want to give that a try next time. And the only shade I think I always kind of struggle with is Wigglies. This red metallic. How do you guys best like to use that? So far I plan to pair it with my Natasha Denona Zendo shade I'm panning because that's a matte red, but how do you incorporate this shade with this palette? If you have any tips, let me know. So I still have 8 of the shades in here that I do need to use. Lastly, I have my level 1 palette for the Project Level Up portion. If you watch my intro, you know I randomized all 4 palettes together and then chose which one I wanted to try and hit pan on. And I chose my Odin's Eye Hella palette, and I've made decent progress so far. I still have not used every shade one time, but I've used my focus shade quite a few times. So let's jump into this. With my Project Level 1, I need to use every shade one time, same as the other palettes, but I also need to hit 1 pan, which I'm so happy to be using this palette. I don't think that will be too much of a problem. So the shades I have used, well, let's just go in order. So I've used Rebirth, Fluorescence, and Underworld. I have not used Decay. I have used Golden Bridge and Moss. I have not used Venom, but I did use Ouroboros. So these 2 I still need to use. Down on the 3rd row, I have not used Wolf. I did use Hella, Hellfire, and Goddess. Double-sided is my focus shade. I believe it's the one I've used the most so far. If for some reason I change my mind, it is what it is, and I'll have even more progress on this palette. But I have used double-sided 4 times. I have not used River, Soot, or Complete yet. River is another one of my favorite shades, but it's a bit dark for me to wear a lot in order to hit pan on it. So I was kind of in between double-sided Hellfire and Golden Bridge to hit pan on, and both of them have kind of like equal dips so far. So if just for the day I'm feeling called to one or the other, I'm not going to like force myself to reach for the shade I'm panning. So we'll just see how we get on with this palette. I don't know if this will be rolled out next time. If I have completed, which I should, using all of the shades once and have a bit more of a dip going on, next update I might roll for my level 2 palette, just so that I can start getting a head start on that, if that makes sense. But so far I'm loving using this palette. I have reached for it, Jesus, 4 times or 5 times actually, I think, so far since it's been in this project, because I don't think I paired double-sided when I was using the greens. Anyways, I'm rambling, making slow and steady progress on my level 1 palette, but we do get to roll in a new palette because I completed my goal on my Ofra singles. Now, I feel like Hella is still kind of summery. I feel like it kind of goes with any season, honestly. So this is a really great palette to have out right now, but these two I feel are kind of like fall vibes. I'm not mad about it. I'm still going to use them, but I would love if the panning gods could be so kind as to give me a summery palette. In the most ideal world, something that is behind me is what I would love to have rolled in here. Okay, I have my Tiny Decisions app. I'm actually going to record my screen because I don't have autofocus on my camera. And we are going to roll for a No Pan Left Behind palette. That is Odin's Eye Hella, so that's already in here. We need to re-roll. This is the Shroud Butte Bean palette. I don't want to re-roll again, but I might roll in a fifth palette. This is the It's Freakin' Bats palette. This is spooky vibes all around, and combined with this, like, we're in July. This is gonna be like July, August into September. Okay, we're gonna roll this in, but we're gonna roll in one more palette. And this one has to be summery or I'm gonna re-roll again. I don't even care. Hella again. I'm already working on that, Tiny Decisions. No, Wet n Wild Comfort Zone, not doing it. I want a summer palette. I'm not smart like It's Just Step and have a wheel with these palettes. ColourPop Cherry Sweet. Doing it. Okay. That was bananas. And now I have 5 palettes in here. But to be honest, I'm not going to be able to use this yet. So I don't think this will be used at all by the next update. Okay. A little flustered. We got the Butte Bean, which is now Batty Bean, x Shroud Cosmetics. It's Freakin' Bats palette. I do love this palette. It is neglected in my collection. It really, really is. And it has a lot of beautiful shades. I guess some of these, I'm thinking like Spooky, Trappa, Zero, I could definitely get some use out of this summer. But really, this is a spooky season palette for me. Actually, it looks like my Adams shade has rusted. I'm going to pop in a picture because that is not shadow. I think my pan has rusted. The whole thing with this palette just kind of annoys me, to be honest. Okay, moving on. If you have the It's Freakin' Bats palette, let me know how yours is looking. And then finally, after many re-rolls, I got the ColourPop Cherry Crush palette. Nope, no you didn't. Editing Emily here. I clearly did not notice at all while filming, and only just now as I'm putting this video together realize that the Tiny Decisions gave me Cherry Sweet, not Cherry Crush. So this Hello Kitty quad is the Cherry Sweet quad. So this is actually what's rolling in this little 4 pan, which I already pulled in my Shop My Stash. So I'm very excited to include this, and it is still one of my summer palettes. So actually the Cherry Crush 9 pan palette is not rolling into this project right now, though I would be very happy to use it. But to keep me honest, and having had re-rolled so many times, I am not rolling in Cherry Crush because I actually rolled in the Cherry Sweet palette. So this is the palette that's in this project. We now have 5 palettes in this project. Depending on what is up with my It's Freakin' Bats palette, because that is actually kind of concerning me, as this palette is not very old. It is in the Adams shade here that I see rust around the whole entire edge of the pan. Okay, goals for next time. Let me get on that. I would like to have all of my shades complete on my Jackie Aina, as well as my Hella palette, though I don't think I will have pan yet, but I could surprise myself. We shall see. And I don't know, I think I could have this out too. Okay, I've rambled on long enough. If you enjoyed this project pan update, don't forget to give it a thumbs up so that I know, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!